What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this nice and beautiful question on the board that we're going to be solving. And the question says, find the value of x for which x plus 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 4 times x plus 5 all over x minus 2 times x minus 3 times x minus 4 times x minus 5 is equal to 1. Well, our first step will be for us to expand the numerator and the denominator. So I'm going to be pairing two factors. For example, pair this with this, and this with this, this with this, and this with this. So let's start with the first one. So x times x, that's x squared. Now, 2 plus 3, that's 5. So I'm going to be writing plus 5x. And then 2 times 3, that's 6. So plus 6. So this is the expansion of these first two factors. Now coming to the next two factors. So x times x, that's x squared. And 4 plus 5, that's 9. So I'm going to be writing plus 9x. And then 4 times 5 is 20. So plus 20. All over. Now for the denominator, we expand x times x, that's x squared. Now minus 2 plus minus 3, that's minus 5x. And then minus 2 times minus 3 is plus 6 times. Now x times x is x squared. And minus 4 plus minus 5, that's minus 9x. And then minus 4 times minus 5 is plus 20. And this is equal to 1. Now notice that what I have inside of this bracket and what I have inside of this bracket, there is nothing common. So I cannot be working with this. So I'm going to be getting rid of this. This approach will not give me what I want. Now let's make use of another approach. Now the first thing I'm going to do will be to rearrange. So I'll take this, which is x plus 2. I'll pair with the last, which is x plus 5. Then I'll take x plus 3 and pair with x plus 4 all over. Well, I'll do the same thing to the denominator. So this is x minus 2 pair with the last, x minus 5 times. Now we have x minus 3 times x minus 4. Now let's expand. So on expanding, before expanding, we're going to be equating this to 1. Now let's expand. So for the first, we have x times x, that's x squared. Now 2 plus 5, that's 7. So I'm going to be writing plus 7x. And then 2 times 5 is 10, so plus 10. Times x times x, that's x squared. Now 3 plus 4, that's 7, so that's plus 7x. And then 3 times 4 is 12, so plus 12. So you notice we have what is common here, x squared plus 7x and x squared plus 7x common. Now let's do the denominator. So all over. For the denominator, x times x, that's x squared. Now minus 2 plus minus 5, that's minus 7x. Now minus 2 times minus 5 is plus 10. Times, now what I have here, x times x, that's x squared. Minus 3 plus minus 4, that's minus 7, so minus 7x. And lastly, minus 3 times minus 4 is plus 12. And this is equal to 1. Very good. So we have some synchronization here. Now, I want to make what is inside of this bracket to resemble what is here. So our next step will be for us to split 12 into 10 plus 2. So let's do that here. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 10 times. Now this becomes x squared plus 7x plus, now split 12 into 10 plus 2. See that? Very good. So all over, we have on the denominator, we have x squared minus 7x plus 10 times. Now do the same thing here. We have x squared minus 7x plus split 12 to 10 plus 2. And this is equal to 1 on the right hand side. Now notice that we have x squared plus 7x plus 10 here. We also have x squared plus 7x plus 10 here. So we can just say let x squared plus 7x plus 10 be equal to a. Now let's check the denominator. Now we have x squared minus 7x plus 10 inside of this bracket. Then inside of this other bracket, we have x squared minus 7x plus 10 as well. So we can as well say let x squared minus 7x plus 10, which we have on the denominator, to be equal to b. So substitute a for this and substitute b for this. Let's do that. So this expression now becomes a times, now from here, which is x squared plus 7x plus 10, that's going to be a. So this will be a plus 2. So a plus 2 all over. Now the denominator, this expression here is b. So I'm going to be putting b there times. Now x squared minus 7x plus 10 is actually b. So we're going to say b plus 2. So this is b plus 2. And this is equal to 1. Let's continue on the next slide. Our next step will be for us to cross multiply. So I have a times a plus 2 to be equal to, now b times b plus 2 times 1 will give the same thing, b times b plus 2. Now let's expand. So a times a is a squared plus a times 2, that's 2a, equal to b times b, that's b squared, plus b times 2, that's 2b. Good. Now our next step will be for us to move what is on the right hand side to the left hand side. So on the left, we already have a squared plus 2a. Now I'm going to move b squared to the left hand side so that it becomes minus b squared, and move 2b to the left so that it becomes minus 2b, equal to 0. Now let's rearrange. We're going to be rearranging the terms with the squared first. So we have a squared, now minus b squared. You see that? Very good. So plus 2a and then minus 2b, equal to 0. Now notice that this is actually difference of two squares, which can be expressed as a minus b times a plus b. So this difference of two squares have been expressed like this, plus, now notice that 2 is actually common here, so we factor out 2. Now 2a times 2, I'm going to have a, minus 2b times 2, I'm going to be having b, equal to 0. Now observe very well, you notice that a minus b is actually common. So we're going to be factoring out a minus b. on our next step. So we have a minus b factored out. So a minus b times a plus b divide by a minus b. I'm going to be having a plus b. So a plus b plus, now 2 times a minus b divide by a minus b. I'm going to be having 2. So this is 2 equal to 0. So we have two cases. For case 1, we have a minus b to be equal to 0. Or for case 2, we have a plus b plus 2 to be equal to 0. Now let's solve this case by case. So for case 1, what we're going to do is to move negative b to the right hand side. When I do that, I'll have a to be equal to, as negative b crosses to the right, it becomes b. So a is equal to b. Recall what a and b is. Let's go up and look them up. So recall that a is actually x squared plus 7x plus 10, and b is x squared minus 7x plus 10. So let's substitute them on our next slide. So we know that a is actually x squared plus 7x plus 10, and this is equal to b. B is x squared minus 7x plus 10. Now we have x squared on the left and x squared on the right, so they can go off. We have 10 on the left and 10 on the right, so they can also go off. So that I have 7x here to be equal to negative 7x here. Now let's move negative 7x to the left hand side so that we have 7x. As negative 7x crosses to the left, it becomes plus 7x. And this is equal to 0. So on adding, I'm going to be having 14x to be equal to 0. And to get the value for x, I'll be dividing both sides by 14. So divide the left by 14 and divide the right by 14. So 14 can cancel off 14, leaving x to be equal to 0 divided by 14 is 0. So we've got the value for x to be equal to 0 from our first case. Now let's focus on our second case. And we do that on the next slide. Now for our case 2, let me write case 2. We have a plus b plus 2 to be equal to 0. Now we're going to be substituting for a and b here. Remember that a is actually x squared plus 7x plus 10 plus b is actually x squared minus 7x plus 10. And then we have plus 2 here, so plus 2 equal to 0. Now let's add up. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. Now 7x minus 7x is actually gone. And then we have 10 plus 10, that's 20, plus 2, that's 22. So plus 22 is equal to 0. Well, 2 can actually divide. So I'll divide here by 2, divide by 2, I'll divide by 2. Now 2 can cancel off 2, leaving behind x squared. Now 22 divided by 2 is actually 11, equal to 0 divided by 2 is 0. Our next step will be for us to move 11 to the right hand side so that we have x squared to be equal to, now as 11 crosses to the right, it becomes negative 11. So our next step will be for us to take the square root of both sides in order to get the value for x. So I'll take the square root of the left hand side, which is x squared, equal to, now taking the square root of the right hand side, I have plus or minus the square root of negative 11. Now notice that the square root and the square can cancel off. So leaving behind x to be equal to plus or minus. Now we're going to be having a complex solution here because of the negative number inside of the radical. So this gives the square root of negative 11 iota. So there are two values for x here. So x is equal to the square root of, I'm picking up the positive one, negative 11 times iota, or x is equal to minus negative 11 times iota. Well, feel free to share your ideas in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video and have learned something from this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my upcoming videos. And like I always say, until next time, take care.